Hi everyone, this is Josh. I just wanted to introduce a new book tag to the BookTube community that I created. It's called the Writer's Birthday book tag. And unlike the existing birthday book tag, this one concentrates on the writer-reader connection, and particularly the birth month. The object is to pick 5 authors, poets, writers, illustrators that were born in the same month as you, and select a book that you have read from them, or something that you have read from them, and show us all on BookTube, and then tag 5 people. I'll leave the complete instructions down in the description box. My birthday's in February, so here are 5 authors, poets, and an illustrator that were born in the same month as me that I have read books or works from and have enjoyed. The first one, who has a birthday on February 8th, is Elizabeth Bishop. She is a great American poet. Here are 2 of her great works, the poems, which include her works of poetry, which she is known most for, and her prose, which she's not necessarily known for, but I'm still interested in checking it out. These are some interesting covers, I must say. They're very straightforward poems, prose. Here you go. What you see is what you get. While these are not necessarily exotic, the interior is what matters most, and her work is just really spectacular. I was definitely getting the poems either way, but the prose was on sale on Amazon for 90% off, and I was definitely going to check that out. Some of her great works include In the Waiting Room, The Fish, One Art. Definitely want to dive into reading much more from her. I've read her major works, but from what I have seen, she really gives a good logical detail, like in The Waiting Room, where she discusses being a 7-year-old girl and just describing things as they come to her and not concentrate on that obvious thought of her aunt having her teeth checked and yelling an ooh when they hit a stressful point. Also born on February 8th is John Grisham, and my favorite book from him was a nonfiction book that he came out with, The Innocent Man, Murder and Injustice in a Small Town. Has to do with a minor league baseball player named Ron Williamson, who's accused of murder, sentenced to death, and then 11 years later is released and no longer deemed guilty of murder. His charges are dropped, but everything going on between that, his troublesome life, going into prison and enduring such a hectic experience, it's just really, it's something that can only be true, and John Grisham really does quite a job making us feel that aggravation that comes with the mistakes that are sometimes made that really shatter people's lives. I've also read The Brethren and Playing for Pizza by John Grisham, and my plan is to read much more of his work because I enjoy much of it. Having a birthday on February 25th is one of the most underrated horror fiction authors, even though he identifies himself as a thriller author. I'm talking about John Saul, and in 2011 I read When the Wind Blows. This one really kept me up, and it told me I had to read more on and on. Kept me up a few extra minutes, maybe a little bit, a half hour, that kind of thing. Has to do with a girl named Christy Lyons. She moves into this haunted house with a woman named Diana who adopts her. Diana lives with her mother, and mother frowns upon the adoption, and we learn a lot more about Diana, and that's where things get really interesting. When the Wind Blows is something you should definitely check out, and I would really suggest reading some of John Saul's work. I definitely plan on doing that myself. With a birthday on February 27th is the author I'm currently reading, in John Steinbeck, and I'm currently reading East of Eden. I read The Grapes of Wrath a few years ago. I put it down for the time being. I plan to get back to it. John Steinbeck is quite an author, and I think East of Eden really, he really puts in the effort to develop his characters and develop a realistic background for them to live. East of Eden refers to Cain's whereabouts after the slaying of Abel, and this piece is a reflection of the book of Genesis. It's a modern retelling, per se, and it's really giving me the go-ahead to go and read the Bible after I complete this and when I get the opportunity. I'm about halfway through, and I'm really enjoying the experience right now. For now, I really think you should check out East of Eden. And sharing a birthday with me on February 28th is an illustrator, but he's one of the most important illustrators. I'm talking about John Tenille, who was the illustrator of Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. He is the one that gave a face to Alice, the Mad Hatter, the March Hare, the Dormouse, the Queen of Hearts, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Here's one of his few. Here is Alice playing with the flamingo in a croquet game. Instead of using mallets in Wonderland, of course, they play with flamingos. And we ask ourselves, why? The response to that is the absurdist thinking, why do we play with mallets in the real world? Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass really explored the absurdities of the real world. The other notable one is why do we celebrate birthdays when we can celebrate unbirthdays? There's many more unbirthdays to celebrate each year. Alrighty, these are my 5 books, or actually 6, because Elizabeth Bishop's poems and prose are both worth checking out. I definitely explore the 5 authors that I mentioned as well. Now it's time for me to select 5 people that I tag to participate in the Writer's Birthday Book Challenge. I am tagging Erica from Erica Rabel, Stephanie from Time to Read, Anna and Camilla from Our Bookish Obsession, Sam from Novels and Nonsense, and Literary Gladiator's very own Lily Vitari. I hope you may take the time to participate in this tag, and I'll be looking forward to seeing who you choose as your 5 authors, poets, illustrators, etc. Keep reading.